Today we have a special video in which I'm gonna show you how an 150 euros client project is built, in this case of an AI cold calling campaigns system. If you're interested in learning how a real AI automation service is sold and built, stick around and let's get directly into it. So guys, to start, in this case, this walkthrough through this $950 project of AI voice call calling, I am here in Make, which is the software in which I built, in this case, the system. I could have built it in an A10. You can actually do it in both, but in this case I preferred, as to deploy it is easier, in Make. First of all, we have this one, which is the one with which we're gonna send the calls. Start, we have an Google Sheets with actually all the numbers that we are gonna be able to call, and we, as always, are gonna set a column which is call sent, which I'm gonna show you right now. Well, for the sake of this video, what I did basically is hide the last name, phone number, and email address of each lead so that we don't get any problem. But as you can see, we had here a column of call sent that was being filled up every time we were sending a call inside here. So we check, first of all, if the email address existed and if the call sent was sent. So there wasn't anything here and this column was basically blank. So what we would check if there's no more leads, so if the phone number equals to nothing, so it's blank, this means that there's no more leads, we're gonna set this router so that it sends an email to the, I have changed of course the email and I have put my email to inform that all leads were called and that we have to change the lead to add more at least. So then what we will basically add here is a big transient assistant that we have done tons of guides, and you will probably have one in here in the cards so that you can check it. Basically, a cold calling campaigns is to go inside Vapi. Here guys, you then have to go to open your dashboard, and once inside you will probably have to go to the doc to create. Let me log in. Okay, so once here you have to go to the part of API documentation, and we are gonna go not to the part of create a call because that will be inside this HTTP module that we will have here, but to the part of here to create assistant, and click here where it says try it, and then just continue guys the guides that I have already shown inside the channel, because if not this video would be really long. If you want a full guide on how I created this system, just let me know and I will create one. So let's go back. Here as always the steps of partition, transfer to JSON. I'm gonna show you a small bit of the HTTP module. So here we have it, the API key after bearer, of course, a classic one, and then the customer, this is the API request of create a call. The previous one I showed you was the API request of create an assistant, but this one is the API request of create a call. You have to include the number, the name, the phone number, ID, assistant, everything, as you can see here. Again, follow the guides I showed you. And this is something that I added recently to my projects, that is a error handler in case the call cannot be sent. So sometimes the coach or something like that can stop the scenario because there's a small error. So what you have to do is add the error handler a resume, and the system will continue after still calling the numbers, because if it's set up correctly, it means that even if there's an error handler, it's gonna continue calling, even if there's only one problem, that usually is. You could add also here an Gmail to notify if there's an error with one people, but if there's also an error, like you can see here, the status code is 201, but the correct one is 201, and if it's not equal to 201, we are gonna put here inside the Google Sheets that there's error sending the call, you see. But if there's 201 as the status code, it means that it has been sent, so call sent in format date in the date. Okay, so this was the scenario on how to send the calls. Let's go now to check the one on how to receive the information. Okay, and here we are in the second scenario from me, the one of receiving the information. So First thing what we are gonna do is place here a Google Sheets in which we are gonna find inside the list of leads which column or row matches the phone number that just called to find the lead that we just called. Then we're gonna have a Google Gemini AI to determine with the transcript if the message or the output of the call was a voicemail or not. If it was a voicemail, we are gonna just insert it inside the sheet I have of not answered, including the name, the phone number, and the email again. But if it passes and it's not a voicemail, we're gonna have a GPT to determine several things. In this case, it's gonna determine if he was interested, if not, if he wanted an appointment, if not, if it was again a voicemail, because we then have two filters in case it was also a voicemail, and if it was a gatekeeper. So for example, here we have the part of not interested, and then we will add it inside our sheet of not interested. Then we have another route of interested but doesn't want an SMS to book an appointment. Then we will include the name, phone number, email, transcript, recording URL. We will just say email sent no, SMS sent no. Finally, we have the ones of interested who also want to book an appointment and are interested with an SMS and email. So we will have this part with the name, phone number, email, transcript, recording URL, email sent yes, SMS sent yes. Here we have the email with an error handler, and here we just have to add, in this case, an SMS that we could send with Twilio, create a message, or with bonus. Again, this is in the final version of the client, so he already has, in this case, the Twilio one to send an SMS, but as this was a demo I did before for them, it would go inside here, the Twilio mod. If it was a gatekeeper, I actually settled here a Google Gemini. Wait a minute, I'm gonna put my connection, in which we told him to analyze the transcript and output the day in which the gatekeeper told us that we could call the CEO or the owner of the business. The Gemini will also output no if the gatekeeper told us that we couldn't call the owner. So that's why we set these two routes, one for no and the other one for any dates that we received. And finally, we have the final route, that is actually this one. It's on fallback because we have here the one of gatekeeper, here we have the one of yes, interested in booking an appointment and in SMS. Here we have the part of yes, no, which is interested in the services of the cold calling company of my client, but not interested in booking an appointment right now, or not interested. So the final one, the fallback one that is gonna come here in case nothing is within these four routes, is the voicemail. Remember that this GPT is only gonna output 5 things, these 4 and the last one that is gonna be a voicemail, and it's this one basically another filter to see if it was a voicemail. If it passes the filter of it was a voicemail, it's gonna go to these 4, but if it was actually a voicemail, it's gonna come to again to not answer with the name, phone number, and email. There you go. Inside the email, by the way, we would add several information to book an appointment, like the calendar link and everything, and this error handler is in case the mega scenario couldn't send the email, and we had in this case to update to say that error, no email sent, and resume again to continue the scenario without having any problem. So yeah, this was basically the system to send and receive the information, and how a 950 euros project of AI cold calling campaigns